The dog stood staring at the baby for 20 minutes. Seconds later, everything changed. Sarah's blood ran cold as she watched her loyal German Shepherd, Max, standing completely still beside the crib, his eyes locked on her newborn daughter with an intensity she had never seen before. For 20 agonizing minutes, the dog didn't move, didn't blink, didn't make a sound. Then, in one swift movement that would change their lives forever, Max lunged forward. A new addition to the family. When Sarah and James brought their daughter Emma home from the hospital, they were filled with the typical mix of joy and anxiety that all new parents experience. But there was an additional concern weighing heavily on their minds. How would Max, their 5-year-old German Shepherd, react to the newest member of their family? Max had been their loyal companion since he was a puppy. He had been there through job changes, cross-country moves, and countless adventures. He was protective, intelligent, and deeply bonded to both Sarah and James. But babies were unpredictable, and even the gentlest dog could react unexpectedly to the sudden disruption of their routine. The couple had done everything right according to the parenting books and veterinary advice. Before Emma arrived, they had played recordings of baby sounds to help Max adjust. They had introduced him to baby lotion scents and even had brought home a blanket from a hospital with Emma's scent on it. Max sniffed it curiously but seemed relatively indifferent. On that first day home, Sarah carried Emma through the front door while James kept Max on a loose leash, allowing him to observe from a safe distance. The dog's ears perked up immediately and his nose twitched as he processed all of the new information, but he remained calm, sitting obediently as instructed. The first signs of unusual behavior. The first few days passed without incident. Max seemed interested in Emma, but maintained a respectful distance. He would occasionally walk past her bassinet and sniff in her direction, but he never tried to jump up or get too close. Sarah and James began to relax, convinced that their careful preparation had paid off. But on the fourth night, something changed. Sarah had just finished feeding Emma and had placed her in the crib in the nursery for what she hoped would be a solid 3-hour stretch of sleep. As she turned to leave the room, she noticed Max standing in the doorway. This wasn't unusual. The dog often followed her around the house, but something about his posture made her pause. Max walked slowly into the nursery, his movements deliberate and careful. He positioned himself beside the crib and then did something that made Sarah's heart skip a beat. He stood completely still and stared at Emma with an unwavering focus. Sarah stood in the doorway watching. 1 minute passed, then 2, then 5. Max didn't move. He barely seemed to breathe. His eyes were locked on the sleeping infant with such intensity that Sarah felt her maternal instincts kick into high gear. Was he showing signs of aggression? Was he jealous? Should she intervene? She called softly to him, "Max, come here, boy." He didn't respond. He didn't even flick an ear in her direction. It was as if nothing else existed in the world except that baby in the crib. 20 minutes of tension. Sarah felt paralyzed by indecision. Every parenting article she had read emphasized the importance of never leaving a dog unsupervised with an infant. Yet Max had never shown any signs of aggression in his entire life. He had been around children before, nieces, nephews, neighborhood kids, and had always been gentle and patient. But babies were unpredictable, and even the gentlest dog could react unexpectedly to the sudden disruption of their routine. The couple had done everything right according to the parenting books and veterinary advice. Before Emma arrived, they had played recordings of baby sounds to help Max adjust. They had introduced him to baby lotion scents and even had brought home a blanket from the hospital with Emma's scent on it. Max sniffed it curiously but seemed relatively indifferent. On that first day home, Sarah carried Emma through the front door while James kept Max on a loose leash, allowing him to observe from a safe distance. The dog's ears perked up immediately and his nose twitched as he processed all of the new information, but he remained calm, sitting obediently as instructed. The moment that changed everything. Max suddenly lunged forward, his powerful body moving with surprising speed. Sarah's scream caught in her throat as she watched her dog rise up, placing his front paws on the edge of the crib. But he didn't grab Emma. He didn't growl or snap. Instead, Max's nose went directly to Emma's face and he began nudging her forcefully with his snout. The baby, jostled from sleep, let out a startled cry. Sarah rushed forward, her protective instincts overriding everything, ready to pull her dog away from her child. But as she reached the crib, she froze. Emma's lips were blue, her tiny chest was struggling to draw breath, and her skin had taken on an alarming pallor. The baby wasn't crying because Max had startled her, she was crying because she couldn't breathe properly. This is the moment every parent fears, but Max's incredible instincts saved Emma's life. Don't skip ahead. Understanding what happened next could help your family too. Sarah scooped Emma up immediately, her training from the infant CPR class kicking in automatically. She positioned the baby face down on her forearm, supporting Emma's head carefully, and delivered firm back blows between the shoulder blades. After 3 strikes, she heard the sound she was desperately hoping for, a small cough followed by a stronger cry. Emma had spit up during her sleep and had been choking. The mucus had blocked her airway, and she was too young to clear it herself or to cry out for help. If Max hadn't detected the problem and alerted Sarah by nudging the baby awake, the outcome could have been tragically different. Understanding what really happened.
In the days and weeks that followed, Sarah and James came to understand that Max's 20 minutes of intense staring hadn't been threatening at all. The dog had detected that something was wrong with Emma long before any human could have noticed. His acute senses, particularly his sense of smell and his ability to detect subtle changes in breathing patterns, had told him that the baby was in distress. Dogs have up to 300 million olfactory receptors in their noses compared to about 6 million in humans. They can detect changes in body chemistry, including the subtle shifts that occur when someone is having difficulty breathing. Max had smelled the problem developing and had stayed close, monitoring Emma carefully. When the situation became critical, Max had acted decisively. His lunge hadn't been aggressive, it had been purposeful. He had nudged Emma awake because, at some instinctive level, he understood that waking her was the solution to the problem he had detected. Sarah and James consulted with their veterinarian, a dog behaviorist, and Emma's pediatrician to fully understand what had happened. They learned that dogs, particularly breeds like German Shepherds that have been bred for protective work, often have an innate ability to detect medical emergencies. There are documented cases of dogs alerting their owners to everything from diabetic episodes to oncoming seizures to carbon monoxide leaks. The science behind the bond. The relationship between dogs and humans goes back thousands of years, and over that time, dogs have evolved to read human cues and respond to human needs in remarkable ways. Recent scientific studies have shown that dogs can synchronize their behavior with humans, read our facial expressions, and even release oxytocin, the love hormone, when they interact with us. But the connection goes even deeper when it comes to dogs and infants. Research has shown that dogs often recognize babies as vulnerable members of the family pack and will actively adopt protective behaviors around them. This isn't universal. Every dog is an individual with their own personality and temperament, but it's common enough that it has been documented across different breeds and family situations. Max's behavior was an extreme example of this protective instinct, enhanced by his breed's natural inclination toward guardianship and his acute sensory abilities. He hadn't just recognized that Emma was a baby who needed protection, he had detected a specific medical emergency and had stayed vigilant until action was necessary. The behaviorist explained to Sarah and James that Max's 20-minute vigil was likely the result of his internal struggle. He knew something was wrong, and his instincts told him to stay close and monitor the situation. But he was also a well-trained dog who had been taught not to approach the baby's crib without permission. He had essentially been waiting to see if Sarah would notice the problem, and when she didn't, he had made the decision to break protocol because the emergency demanded it. Are you paying attention to the warning signs your pets might be giving you? Understanding animal behavior could be the key to keeping your family safe. Here's what you need to know. Lessons for all families. Sarah and James' experience offers valuable lessons for all families with both pets and children. While Max's intervention was extraordinary, the principles behind it are relevant to anyone trying to navigate the complex relationship between dogs and babies. First and foremost, proper preparation is essential. Sarah and James had done an excellent job of introducing Max to the idea of a baby before Emma arrived. This preparation helped Max understand that Emma was a new member of his pack who deserved his protection rather than seeing her as an intruder or threat. Second, trusting your dog doesn't mean being complacent about safety. Even though Max turned out to be a hero, Sarah was right to be concerned about his unusual behavior. Parents should always supervise interactions between dogs and infants, and any significant change in a pet's behavior should be taken seriously.
Third, this story highlights the importance of learning infant CPR and basic emergency response. Max detected the problem and alerted Sarah, but it was Sarah's quick action and proper technique that ultimately saved Emma's life. All parents and caregivers should take the time to get certified in infant and child CPR. Fourth, it's crucial to recognize that not all dogs will react the same way Max did. While his protective instincts and acute senses saved Emma's life, other dogs might not have the same abilities or inclinations. Each dog is an individual, and their behavior around children will depend on their breed characteristics, their training, their socialization history, and their individual personality. The aftermath and the new normal. After the incident, Sarah and James's relationship with Max deepened in ways they hadn't thought possible. They had always loved their dog, but now they saw him as a genuine guardian angel for their daughter. Max seemed to understand his new role too. He remained protective of Emma, but never in an obsessive or unhealthy way. As Emma grew from an infant to a toddler, Max was her constant companion. He would lie beside her during tummy time, walk slowly next to her when she was learning to crawl, and position himself between her and any potential hazards when she started to toddle around the house. The bond between the dog and the little girl was extraordinary to witness. Sarah made sure to share their story with other parents, particularly in online parenting groups and at her local mother's circle. She wanted other families to understand both the potential for dogs to be protective companions for children and the importance of remaining vigilant and educated about both pet behavior and infant safety. The pediatrician who cared for Emma was so moved by the story that she began including information about pet behavior and infant safety in her new parent consultations. She would tell families about Max and Emma as an example of the complex relationships that can exist between family pets and children. Moving forward with confidence and caution. As Emma grew older and more robust, Sarah and James continued to monitor the relationship between their daughter and Max carefully, but their perspective had shifted. Where they had once worried primarily about the dog potentially harming the baby, now they understood that the relationship was more nuanced and potentially more beneficial than they had realized. They also became advocates for responsible pet ownership and proper preparation when introducing pets to new babies. They emphasized that while their story had a positive outcome, it required a foundation of training, socialization, and responsible pet ownership that had been built over years. Max lived to the age of 13, spending 8 wonderful years as Emma's protector and playmate. When he eventually passed away from natural causes, Emma, by then a second grader, was heartbroken. But Sarah and James made sure she understood the gift Max had given her, not just years of companionship and protection, but the very gift of life itself on that critical night when she was just 4 days old. Your family's safety might depend on understanding the signals your pets are sending. Whether you have a dog, cat, or other animals, learning to read their behavior and respond appropriately is crucial.
Take a pet first aid and behavior course, talk to your veterinarian about your specific situation, and never underestimate the bond between animals and children. The bigger picture: animals as family guardians. Max and Emma's story is not unique in the broader context of animals protecting children, though the specific circumstances were certainly dramatic. Throughout history and across cultures, there have been countless stories of dogs and other animals intervening to save children from various dangers. Scientific research into this phenomenon has revealed that many animals, particularly dogs, have sophisticated cognitive abilities that allow them to understand causality, predict outcomes, and make complex decisions. When combined with their superior sensory abilities and their evolved understanding of human social cues, these cognitive skills enable some dogs to recognize emergencies and take appropriate action. However, it's important to note that while these abilities are impressive, they're not universal among all dogs, and they shouldn't be relied on as a replacement for proper supervision and safety measures. Max was able to detect Emma's distress and alert Sarah, but the story could have ended very differently if Sarah wasn't home, hadn't responded quickly, or hadn't known infant CPR. Practical steps for families. For families who are expecting a baby or have recently brought a newborn home, there are several practical steps that can help ensure a positive relationship between pets and children. Start preparing your pet before the baby arrives. Let them smell baby items, play recordings of baby sounds, and adjust to any changes in routine that will occur once the baby is home. This helps reduce stress and prevents the pet from associating negative experiences with the baby's arrival. Maintain your pet's routine as much as possible after the baby arrives. Dogs and cats thrive on predictability, and keeping their feeding times, walk schedules, and play sessions consistent can help them adjust more easily to the household changes. Never leave an infant or young child unsupervised with a pet, regardless of how trustworthy the animal has been in the past. Even the most gentle and patient pet can react unpredictably if surprised, hurt, or frightened. Learn to read your pet's body language and stress signals. Pinned back ears, a stiff body posture, excessive yawning, or attempts to move away from the baby are all signs that your pet is uncomfortable and needs space. Ensure your pet has a safe space they can retreat to when they need a break from the baby. This might be a separate room, a crate if they're crate trained and view it as a positive space, or a high perch for cats. The unbreakable bond. Today, years after that terrifying night, Sarah often reflects on how differently things could have turned out. She thinks about the chain of events that had to align perfectly for Emma to survive. Max's keen senses detecting the problem, his training keeping him obedient yet not preventing him from acting when necessary. Sarah's presence in the house and her willingness to check on the unusual behavior, and her knowledge of infant CPR. She also thinks about the deeper implications of what happened. In an age where many people view pets as lesser members of the family or even as inconveniences once children arrive, Max proved that the bond between humans and animals can be profound and life-saving. His vigilance and protective instincts demonstrated the remarkable capabilities that dogs possess and the important roles they can play in family life. Every parent should learn from Max and Emma's story. The vigilance of a trained, well-socialized pet combined with educated, responsive human caregivers creates the safest environment for children. Don't wait for an emergency to learn CPR, understand pet behavior, or create safety protocols for your home. Take action today to protect your family. Your child's life might depend on it. The story of Max standing beside Emma's crib for 20 minutes before taking decisive action has been shared thousands of times online and has touched the hearts of people around the world. But for Sarah, James, and Emma, it's not just a heartwarming story. It's a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life, the importance of being prepared, and the profound connections that can exist between species. As Emma continues to grow, she carries with her not just the story of how Max saved her life, but also the understanding that animals are capable of remarkable acts of love and protection. This understanding has shaped her into a compassionate, empathetic person who treats all animals with respect and kindness. And somewhere, in whatever place dogs go when they leave this world, Max surely rests peacefully, knowing that he fulfilled his duty as a guardian, protector, and beloved member of his family.